Welcome to GearCheckGames. This is part 2 of our commentary for Paper Mario: The Thousand-Year Door.
Starting off on a foot.
And what better way to open a part than by getting mugged?
Yeah, Mario, you should get a wallet with a chain on it. You need to go to Hot Topic.
What would happen if Mario's wallet was like attached to him in that scene? Would he just get pulled into the last screen, or like would the guy? I don't know.
These days, it's all about the RFID blockers.
My headcanon is that Mario just got smacked by an enemy and lost half his money, and his internal response was, "Now I know how that Sonic guy feels."
Oh no, I'm a-living it.
I like that your version of Mario is just... That's my favorite.
Now I know what a meatball feels like.
Here's the problem. Too many robbers.
Hey, you! Get off my cloud. When your Nintendo Online service expired.
How did you know that store piece was there?
Well, you can kind of see it. Like, most of the star pieces, like, you can see, like, a pixel or two of them.
Yeah.
But, in some cases you do just kind of have to poke around behind walls to make sure there's nothing there. This is Merlon. We can't really do anything with him yet, which begs the question as to why I came in here. But, by collecting shine sprites that are hidden throughout the game, you can exchange 3 of them and have him power up one of your partners.
These guys have a name, right? Because there's like 3 of those guys, like, across the series.
I don't know what they're... Well, in Super Paper Mario, they, like, retroactively rename them, like, the Tribe of the Ancients or something. But in the original Paper Mario and this, they were all just kind of, like, a similar-looking group of, like, wizards.
Aren't they all siblings?
Possibly. I'm not entirely sure. Maybe they were in the first game, but I don't remember any explicit references to that in this one.
He's gonna have to whip you, but good.
Oh,
Every time I see this game, it makes me want to pull out my copy of Super. I mean, not to play instead of this, but to play after this.
Yeah, Super definitely has its moments. Like, I'm unfortunately one of the many people in the camp of, like, I like the characters and I like the story and a lot of the scenarios, but the gameplay doesn't really appeal to me in the way that this does.
Yeah,
so...
it's a different, you know, gameplay. So,
Yeah, I think I'm in the same camp. I remember being like... I mean, I knew what I was getting into going into it because I subscribed to Nintendo Power. Although I was, when I first read about it, I was like, oh, that's disappointing. That's not like an RPG anymore. But, like, I remember liking... I was also disappointed that they really simplified and kind of made the character designs a lot more generic. But I remember liking a lot of things about just, like, the story and the atmosphere and stuff. It was very weird. I don't know
that I would say that they made the character designs more generic. I think they were just less characters.
I mean, a lot of them are literally just shapes.
Well, I kind of like that aesthetic. For me, the problem is that, like, if it was like Goombas and Koopa Troopas and like the NPCs kind of look like the way they look in this game, but in that style, I think it would have been more well received. But instead, they're just kind of like generic, like stick people made out of shapes.
Yeah.
If that makes any sense. Like, they're not really... I don't know, they just don't have, like, the complexity or charm of these designs,
I will
in my
stand Count Black until the day I die, so...
Well, yeah, some of the designs are good.
Yeah,
like, the
villains look fantastic in that. I'm talking about, like, your like garden variety NPCs that you talk to, but any, like, major character in that game looks amazing.
There's just not a whole lot of NPCs in that game.
Yeah. When I talk about the designs of the characters, I more think about, like, the partners. Or in this game, and in Paper Mario 1, we've got fantastic partners with, like, great designs and personalities and all that. And in Super Paper Mario, it's like circle with eyes, square with eyes.
That was honestly one of my biggest disappointments with Super Paper Mario was the replacement of the partners with the pixels.
Yeah.
Because, like you say, Dan, they are just, like... Not only are the designs, like, really stripped down, but also they don't have any dialogue apart from the first time you encounter them. Like, at that point, they're literally just, like, a tool to be used. Whereas in this game, the only way you're like all of Mario's whichever partner you have out at the time will comment on speak for Mario and like comment on what's happening. So in order to see all of it, you literally have to play the game 7 times. Or like reset after every like possible. I don't know. It's just a cool like additional detail that makes this game all the more replayable.
You like kind of customize your experience by picking your favorite. It's the reason that I ran with Bo for the entirety of original Paper Mario.
The only way to play this game is to only have Bobbery as your party member from the moment that you acquire him until the moment that you can no longer use him until the moment you can use him again.
It's good to bust out Vivian every once in a while.
It's just Bobbery. Just Bobbery runs. Bobbery only. Where Bobbery stands in this house.
So everything I did from now until the moment, or from the moment I partnered up with Goombella until now, was not required. I literally just had to walk into this house and talk to this guy. You're welcome for having your time wasted.
Did Professor Frankly think that her name was Goombriel? Like Gabriel?
Well, no, he said it's not Goombriel. See, it occurred to him, but he didn't go for it.
Why was that a name that came to his mind?
I don't know.
Because he's got another friend named Goombriel.
Is that not an okay name for a Goomba?
It's a fine name for a Goomba, but like a Goomba guy.
Get out of here with that nonsense.
It could be like Goombriel.
Yeah,
that's
Goombriella.
Though I would assume that it would be, like 2 L's and an E.
You never know.
Though...
one of my to talk briefly about Goombella, because even though she's the first partner, she does remain like one of the most endearing ones, in my opinion, throughout the game. And also one of the most useful, like once you get her all upgraded.
Oh, yeah.
But... one of my favorite details about her is the fact that they tell you that she's a college student. Or, okay, is she a student or is she a graduate?
She's a research assistant, I think. I think she's a graduate student or something.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
Well, because like that, I love that so much because it's so real. Like, there's no other Mario game where a character like references like the amount of schooling they've had.
It's also like, heavily relatable because it's literally what I'm doing right now. I'm a research assistant, so
that was me a little while ago. That was most of us, in fact, but. I don't know, it's just little details like that that really like pull you into this world and really sell these characters. And on top of that, Goombella is just like super entertaining to listen to. When she's not just like talking about exposition and stuff, but like when you in the battle we showed earlier, I showcased the primary like unique function of Goombella is the ability to give you information on your enemy's stats, HP, and strategies. And, she'll always throw in, like, her own little flavor text and fun comments about the enemies. So, after Chapter 1, I get a badge that shows me the enemy's HP without having to use Goombella, just for, like, the sake of expediency. But, if you've got the time and you're playing this game, I highly recommend checking out some of Goombella's tattles for the enemies, because they are quite funny.
Oh, yeah.
Because it takes that old school JRPG like scan mechanic where you would have to waste your turn to learn the enemy's HP and weaknesses, and it gives it flavor, makes it fun.
Well, yeah, to me it's a nice trade-off because I've never liked that mechanic in JRPG where like you don't just get to see your enemy's health, and I know that can be like part of the strategy is like you have to like always be on because you don't know how much health your enemy has left. But like in general, I just think it's inconvenient. But I can kind of tolerate it in this because, well, just the process of scanning the enemy's health bar is just so amusing that like it's worth it.
It's like, you're doing it for the dialogue more than the utility in most cases.
Although I will say, it's definitely
it's very useful.
It's a bit more tedious before you get the quick swap badge.
Oh yeah, that's true. We will also be getting that badge as soon as possible.
Yeah, because before you get that, I remember my experience being, you either have to always have Goombella out just in case you encounter a new enemy. And so you don't have to waste like 3 turns swapping her back and forth and tattling and all that. Or, yeah.
Also, another good feature of this game, the opening of this game may be front-loaded with a lot of dialogue, but at least it lets you skip the tutorials.
Nice.
Like, apart from that first battle where Goombella explains the basic action commands, you don't have to listen to tutorials about the battle system if you don't want to. Like, it'll just let you skip over all that stuff.
Yeah. So if you've already done it before, you're like, nope.
Yeah, real handy for replays.
Yeah.
Let me tell you.
Oh, this is the second of the mages.
Yeah, this is Merlovely. She's basically like your like collection checklist. Like if you don't know what you're supposed to do next, or you need to find a shine sprite or a star piece that you're missing, you can pay her, and she'll tell you where to find them. Which is really nice to have a feature like that built into the game, because otherwise, you know, you're just going to use the internet to find that stuff once you've kind of gotten to the end of your rope.
Yeah.
I like that she looks like Lisa Kudrow wearing too much pantsuit.
The pantsuit has, like, consumed her.
It's peak 90s.
Oh, no.
I'm dead. So before we get too far away from it, there was something in the scene where you met the professor. What's his name? I forget.
Frankly.
Okay, Professor Farnsworth.
Professor Farnsworth?
Yeah.
Professor Hubert Farnsworth.
Good news, everyone! I've discovered the location of the next crystal star!
Good news, Mario! There's some tatalogs in my trash can.
Okay, I guess you can't skip this, but here he's basically just warning you about the spiked enemy. Because another cool thing about the... and the flying enemy, sorry. I didn't mean to throw him under the bus. But, another thing I like about the battle system in this game is it actually takes, like, enemy positioning and, design into account. Like, if there's an enemy with a spike on its head, you can't jump on it. Or if it's, like, a fire enemy, you can't touch it. Like, you have to attack it with, you know, from a distance.
Yeah.
Just really helps out with the strategy aspect.
Yeah. And, like, so, like, right here, the most dangerous one is the spike top Goomba, because he does a bit of extra damage, but you can't jump on him because you got a spike, so you gotta hammer him. But you can't hammer him right now because there's another Goomba in front of him, so you can only target the front enemy with your hammer.
Or you can deal return damage with perfect guards like that.
Yeah. So, yeah, another mechanic that Professor Frankly would have explained if we had bothered to listen to him earlier, guarding. You have two guards. If you push a button at the time when the enemy attacks you, you can like either reduce the amount of damage or negate it completely and reflect it back on them. To just guard, you push A, but to super guard and negate all damage and damage the enemy, you push B. Problem with that is that the input is a lot more precise. You gotta be pretty much perfect with the timing of your button press to get that to work, so... what you're seeing here, and I know I'm not perfect at it, but I feel like I'm fairly proficient at it, that is the result of years and years and years of playing this game. I would not recommend trying to super guard everything your first time through, because you're gonna take a lot of damage.
That's a lot of damage. Damn it.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Yeah, you know, something that I've never really thought about, because, you know, I'm very interested in game design and how this game differs from other JRPGs. Are the enemies' spawns formations set, or is it like random formations?
I think they're set.
There's set, but there's variations, I think. Also, before we get too far away, I was wondering what that sound during the cutscenes and everything. I was hearing like a, and I was wondering if that was like a glitch or something. But then I realized it was the moving platform in the back there.
Oh yeah, yeah. I changed my setup, my TV and audio setup prior to starting the recording of this game from my last playthrough of it. That was a horribly constructed sentence, but moving on. Basically, I'm using new speakers for this game, and like, it's just coming through so much more clearly that I'm picking up on all these little like sound design things that I never noticed before. And it just, I don't know, it just makes me appreciate like how well this game holds up just on every like presentation level. Like, I don't know. It just like visually, we talked about how well it holds up, but I also think it sounds really nice.
Yeah.
Both in terms of like sound design and music. Like this was kind of the era of like kind of fake sounding MIDIs for music, just because the GameCube discs didn't have a whole lot of like storage space on them. But I think the music in this game holds up really well in terms of sound quality. Like it kind of works. Like the sound samples don't sound like distractingly fake. It all just kind of blends together with like the techno style of it to.
I would comment, but I cannot sympathize, empathize. Always mix them up. The one that means that I have no idea what you're talking about.
I cannot.
Well,
hear.
I mean, you know what a real like violin sounds like. That's not what it sounds like in this game. It sounds, like a fake violin, but
sounds like it was made on a Casio.
It's not really. So this is a conversation that for these guys is ad nauseum, but for you guys watching online is new. Is understanding and like catching subtleties in like music is not my forte.
Yeah, Nick's more of a lyrics guy.
Yeah.
This is coming from the guy who differentiates between shades of green.
Yeah, because I have eyes.
This
that
is not a
work,
conversation we're getting into.
Are we really gonna bring this up?
We're not gonna talk about.
Oh my god, that enemy
Pokemon
green.
Emerald. In fact, we're not going to talk about Pokemon Emerald at all. But that is a gorgeous green that I'm seeing on screen right now. I love that green. That's an amazing green.
Very neon. Love it.
All these greens.
Yeah.
The only
Playing this
green,
on a CRT as a kid, I didn't realize he glowed like that.
The only green on the screen I'm not a fan of is Goombella's hat.
Wait, her hat's
Well, it's more of a
that green.
beige.
Yeah. It's got green undertones, and I'm not in love with it.
Oh.
And nobody likes beige.
Yeah, it's not even a color.
Yeah.
It's just a blah.
Well, I
Man.
guess it's like a.
You guys just really offended our one beige fan.
Is it like purple, where it's literally not a color? That's a science thing. Google
That's
that. I'm not gonna
that's
explain
actually
it because
true.
it's a very long conversation, but purple is not a color.
I got very lucky here with the stage gods favored me there and dropped a stage light from on high on my foe.
Some of these enemies are actually 3D. I did not realize that.
Question. These sproinks. Do you think that those two little things sticking out of them are arms or teeth?
Teeth.
Yeah, I always saw them as like buck teeth.
Yeah.
Kind of like coughing and wheezing have.
Yeah.
Or Goombas.
I guess they're not like they're not buck teeth. They're more just like really blunt fangs. Yeah.
Yeah, so that means Goombella is a predator and Farnsworth is a...
No, Frankly's teeth are just broken, I think. I think that's the...
He's just old.
What do you think?
Well, maybe
the
that's what
Spinias
Goomba
eat?
dentures look like.
Oh.
I love to think that elderly Goombas have dentures that are just like gums with two big like peg teeth in the bottom.
Oh, God. It's like Jafar when he turns into the beggar.
Yes.
Oh yeah. How does that work?
Magic.
Through the magic of animation, that's how.
Disney magic.
Yeah.
He puts in a pair of dentures over his real teeth that have fake gums.
Only Jafar could concoct such a wily and clever scheme.
Wait, are these the chests that curse you?
No, it's the chest that
Helps
gives
you.
you a special reward because you're the legendary hero.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's the chest that curses you.
You can trust the chest. Would he ever steer you wrong? Answer
No.
yes.
Has he ever steered you wrong before in this game?
Well, not yet.
Yeah, no, exactly. He hasn't. So you have no reason to believe that he would try to screw you over.
Do something sinister, like say
or
cursing you.
untowards. Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, tune in for part 3 where that chest definitely does not put a curse on Mario and his family.
The entire time that chest was talking, I in my head had the voice of the villain from Gravity Falls, and it worked really well.
I don't know why you would think why you would have that voice though, because it's definitely not an evil chest.
It's a good chest.
Yeah. He's the good chest.
Bye, y'all.
Next time.